What if the world's deepest problems were not political, economic, or social, but spiritual? What if the solution was not human effort, but grace? James doesn't dwell on theology alone, it gets practical. Written as a letter to believers struggling with trials, temptation, and division, James asks a question we often avoid: is your faith alive, or is it just words? Overview. James is one of the most straightforward and practical books in the New Testament. It was written by James, likely the brother of Jesus, who became a key leader in the Jerusalem church. The letter addresses Jewish Christians scattered across the Roman world, facing persecution, poverty, and internal conflict. Unlike other letters that focus on doctrine, James emphasizes living out faith. He argues that true faith is active, visible, and transformational. Hearing the word is not enough, it must be applied. James combines moral instruction, spiritual encouragement, and pointed warnings to produce a faith that works in daily life. Historical and social context. The early Christian communities James addresses were dispersed among both Jewish and Gentile cultures. Many faced social pressure, economic hardship, and even outright persecution. Some believers struggled to remain faithful, tempted to compromise or adopt the values of the surrounding society. James writes to correct attitudes that could distort faith. He stresses integrity, humility, and perseverance, aiming to strengthen believers in both character and conduct. His approach is practical rather than theoretical, providing real guidance for life under pressure. Key themes in James. Faith in action. James famously says, "Faith without works is dead," James 2 verse 26. Belief must be lived out through action, compassion, and obedience. Perseverance through trials. Trials are not meaningless. They produce endurance, maturity, and deeper reliance on God, James 1 verses 2 to 4. Wisdom from God. True wisdom is humble, peace-loving, and merciful. It is not self-serving or boastful, James 3 verses 13 to 18. Controlling the tongue. Speech is powerful. Words can bless or destroy. James warns believers to speak with restraint and wisdom, James 3 verses 1 to 12. Warning against partiality. Faith must be consistent in all areas of life, not influenced by wealth, status, or personal preference, James 2 verses 1 to 9. Prayer and humility. Believers are called to pray fervently, confess sins honestly, and submit humbly to God's will, James 5 verses 13 to 18. Key verses in James. James 1 verses 2 to 4, trials produce perseverance and maturity. James 1 verses 19 to 20, be quick to listen, slow to speak, slow to anger. James 2 verses 14 to 26, faith is validated by works. James 3 verses 1 to 12, words have the power to bless or curse. James 3 verse 17, wisdom that is pure, peaceable, and full of mercy. James 4 verses 7 to 10, submit to God, resist the devil, draw near to God. James 5 verses 7 to 11, patience in suffering and trust in God's justice. James 5 verses 16 to 18, prayer is powerful, effective, and transformative. Relevance today. James speaks directly to modern believers navigating challenges, temptation, and moral compromise. His message is clear: faith is not just a private belief, it is actionable, shaping behavior, relationships, and decisions. In today's world, where words often outpace deeds, James calls believers to align what they profess with how they live. True faith is resilient, practical, and visible even under pressure. Closing thought. James reminds us that faith is more than a statement, it is a lifestyle. Believing without action is incomplete, and enduring trials with obedience strengthens both character and trust in God. If your faith feels theoretical or stagnant, James challenges you to live it boldly. Speak wisely, act justly, love consistently, and persevere. That is faith that truly works.